Welcome back to Humboldt State Tonight. JB Mathers joined now by the legendary head coach Frank Cheek. And Coach, it's never too soon to have you on, but I know people are like, it's not softball season. What's going on? 2008 is the year. 1978, your wrestling team was one of the best. They're going into the Hall of Fame this weekend, as well as Jessamy Kendall, the star pitcher on your 1999 softball team. Coach, Hall of Fame weekend, what does that mean to you? Because you're always a busy man, Hall of Fame weekend.
It means I have two socials to perform at my house, for one thing, but I always look forward to those socials. The 78 team was a great team, and, you know, it was comprised of a lot of locals. We had Mark Martinez out of Fortuna, we had Van Duzer and Woolsey out of Arcata High, and Woolsey was a two-time national champion for us. We had an All-American John Sylvia out of Eureka, and along with him, we had Keith Hawks. And so you stop and think about the local people involved. There were a lot of them. Now you have Tom Pendry's son is doing a great job for McKinleyville. He works out in that school district. Evidently he's going to coach his son this year.
Basketball, of course. From
and Sam Razzo, he works out there in the Northern Humboldt Union District. So a lot of local tradition involved in this weekend. All
right, do you have a favorite memory or story about the 78 team? Because Coach Cheek, when it comes to stories, he's the absolute best. And of course, this is a PG show, Coach, and I know wrestling, a rough and tumble sport, but when you think about the 1978 wrestling team, what sort of memories pop to mind?
Well, basically renting a station wagon and getting the whole team in the station wagon, and the bumper was hitting the ground. It was overloaded, and staying with friends because we didn't have money for motels, and Palmer Jensen's relatives, you know, things like that worked out to our advantage so we could go to the national tournament. In those days, you know, you had to pay your own way. It's not like today. The women, you know, the NCAA flew them back this year.
Charter plane to Houston this year for the national championship
Things
team.
have changed a lot in 30 years.
Long way from the station wagon.
Well, I was hoping they didn't pull us over because we were barely moving. We were on the ground.
All right, now wrestling. Last week we had Andy Cumbo on, and he coaches the men's and women's soccer teams. People know you now. You know, the people under 30 around here on the North Coast, they know you as just a softball coach. But you were the men's wrestling coach for all those years. What's it like making that transition from men to women?
Well, the thing I noticed the most, the wrestlers I treated pretty harshly, you know. I mean, it wasn't uncommon for me to hit one of them in the back of the head to get their attention. And I didn't, they weren't in trouble like the women, you know. I mean, they were always in trouble. The women, they're nice to coach. You go on a road trip with the wrestlers, they're cutting weight, they got their sweats on. It's a long road trip. Right. The women, the place smelled very well, and it was kind of a novelty for me at first. There's no difference between the desire of a man or a woman to win. Zero. Whatever you ask of them, they produce. I feel that the women have better GPAs and are better students.
A little more all-around focused on things off the field.
Yes, I'd say so. But I was a little more lenient on my wrestlers than I was.
Really?
Well, you know, parents give you their daughter, their most prized possession, and you act in loco parentheses. You're involved as their parent here, and I keep a good eye on them and try to make sure that things are going according to Hoyle. You know, the wrestlers, as long as they showed up to wrestle, I didn't care what they did. I knew they had to run it off the fluid, so I didn't worry about that.
Coach, you are a great coach. You've won at wrestling. You've won at women's softball. Why are you such a good coach?
I've been married 49 years. Same woman. I think my real strength comes from my wife. I believe and from the Lord Jesus Christ now, who I at first did not accept that. I took all the accolades, but nowadays I give credit where credit's due, and I think that having a heart attack and giving a second chance, I'm trying to take advantage of that.
And how is your health now after that heart attack a couple years ago?
Well, I feel pretty good. I've gained a few more pounds back because you get careless.
Have you reintroduced potato chips back into your diet?
Not when my wife's home.
Okay, nobody's looking.
Not when she's there.
Coach, the other side, you're always busy. I got to go to the Hall of Fame dinner last year, excuse me. Seems like every time I turn around, Frank Cheek was getting up to introduce somebody, and that's a testament to him and his athletes. Jessamy Kendall will go in. She was your star pitcher back in the late 90s, and you rode her arm to a national championship in 1999. What can you tell us about Jessamy Kendall?
Well, she's still in the record books 33 times. She was a lefty. She threw 60-plus miles an hour. She was a 4-time MVP of our league. She was a four-time All-West Region. She's 3-time All-American. Doesn't get any better than that. Jessamy was a gamer, and I could relax with Jessamy on the mound, just like with Lizzie. I could relax. They both have a lot of attributes that are similar. I think Jessamy's work ethic was better.
Okay.
For the 4 years.
Right.
Her work ethic was better. But Lizzie put it all together her senior year. She had it together junior year, and we got a few bad breaks.
All right, let's bring in the email hand. New segment here on Humboldt State Tonight. Thank you, hand. Email question. Tom B. Up there in McKinleyville wants to know what softball team would win, the 1999 squad or the 2018 Jessamy Kendall versus Lizzie Prescott? Thank you, hand.
I tell you what, the greatest game by some of the commentators was our game this year that went 17 innings. I think the game between those two clubs would even be greater. You had great offense, defense, great pitching. I'd like to coach either team.
Okay.
I couldn't make a value judgment on that, and be fair to both squads. I wish I had them both back.
It would be a good thing for you and Humboldt State, I'm sure. Looking forward to Friday night when you introduce Jessamy Kendall, all those introduction speeches you're so good at. What's the key for us people who got to talk? You were so good at those speeches. What makes you so good with that?
Well, the material. You got good material, and you can speak all day on Jessamy Kendall. One situation that comes to mind is when we're playing Kennesaw State, and they were defending national champions. And it was the 4th inning. We're down 1 run. They got the bases loaded. 1 out, and I called timeout, and I ran out to the mound, and of course Megan Keesling came right behind me, and I got out there and I said, "Ladies, we're in trouble." And they about verbatim, they said, "No, we're not. Home to first." And I said, "No, ladies, we're in trouble." They said, "No, home to first." So I turned around and mumbled to myself, "Home to first," walked back to the dugout, first pitch, back to pitcher, home to first. And I said, "Oh, yes, home to first."
It's that simple, right, Coach?
That's simple.
Hey, Frank Cheek, I can't wait to have you back on. Congratulations to all your athletes. JB Mathers, Humboldt State Tonight. We're coming up next with head football coach Rob Smith.